types of first off, I'm going too fast, my bad. You're not allowed to have a square root on the bottom. Now, I will say this. I was telling Kendall yesterday, in calculus, and sometimes in the ACT, they will have a square root on the bottom. And so in calculus, they'll say leave it. But for the most part, it's kind of one of those things you're not supposed to have a square root on the bottom, so you have to get rid of it. This is called rationalizing the denominator. If it's in one piece, by the way, if it's in one piece, they call it a monomial. You know what they call it when it's in two pieces? Binomial. Good. Is that Raphael again? Dadgum, Raphael's cheat code today. It's a binomial. This problem's different than this one. If it's in one piece, we do it one way. If it's in two pieces, you do it another way. So here's what you do on this one. Whenever you have this, you're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root that's on the bottom. So I multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. So I multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. Okay? And the Raphael property is going to come through in the clutch here in a moment, and then y'all will see why we're doing this. You're allowed to multiply the bottom by something as long as you do the same thing to the top. Okay? I should pick on Raphael for this one, so you can use his property. Raphael, what's 3 times the square root of 2? Don't think too hard. Are these, what do I multiply the 3 with? Would be the outside or inside? Yeah, so it'd be like 3 times 1, so it'd be 3 square root of 2. All right, Raphael, this is why I called on you. 5 square root of 2 times square root of 2. Think about what this becomes. Raphael, what's square root of 2 times square root of 2? Yes. We are using the Raphael property. Why did we do this? You're like, would he do this? It made the square root disappear. So, shout out to Raphael. What's 5 times 2, Raphael? 10. Good job. Now, at this point, you're going to check, can these two here be simplified? I don't worry about reducing 2 and square root of 10. This is a different term than this. This is under a radical. This is called a radicand. This is a number. I can't simplify that. Now, square root of 2 can't simplify anyways. I'm going to see if 3 and 10 can simplify. Are there any common factors in 3 and 10 other than 1? No, so I'm done there. So I'll stop there. Now, binomials, that's where Isaiah's going to be cussing me on the binomials. He's not going to like this one as much. That's how you do it when it's one piece. Now we're going to do the 2 pieces. Okay. When it's a binomial and it's 2-piece, you multiply by the conjugate. Now, what in the world is a conjugate? It's the same thing as this, except for it's a plus in the middle. I'm going to go back to Jasmine. Shout out to Jasmine here. Jasmine, can you agree that this is the conjugate of that? It's the same thing, but different sign in the middle. What happens at the end when you multiply by its conjugate? What do you get as an answer? A number. What do you not have? Yes. So, why are we doing by the conjugate? Because using the Jasmine property, Jasmine, what are we going to end up when we multiply by its conjugate? We're going to end up with a yes and not a square root. Good job. Shout out to Jasmine. All right. Let's see if we can pick on some other people here. You think Cooper could do this? Let's do the top, Cooper. Square root of 3 times square root of 3. What's square root of 3 times square root of 3, Cooper? Square root of 9, which is what? 3. Good. You can put square root of 9 and then simplify it. Now, Cooper, what's the square root of 3 times 2? 3's inside the square root, 2's on the outside, just a number. So what would that be? Good job. 2 square root of 3. Look at that. So you just outside, inside. Okay. On this one, we got to do square root of 3 times all that, and then negative 2 times all that. All right. Kenny, what's the square root of 3 times square root of 3? Square root of 9, which is what? What's the square root of 9? Good. Kenny, what's the square root of 3 times 2? Square root of 3 times 2. 3's inside of a square root, 2's on the outside. What's the square root of 3 times 2? Kensley, help her out. What's square root of 3 times 2? What's square root of 3 times 2? Good. So, Kenny, we have an outside, 2's on an outside, 3's on an inside. So you just multiply together. All right, Kenny, you're going to redeem yourself. What's negative 2 times square root of 3, Kenny? Good job. Yes. Kenny, what's negative 2 times 2? Negative 4. Good job. All right, the Jasmine property. Jasmine, what's happening here in the middle? What happens with these two in the middle? They go away, right? They cancel. 2 squared root of 3 minus 2 squared root of 3 is nothing. And so what's 3 minus 4? Hey, buddy. What's 3 minus 4? Negative 1. So I have this divided by negative 1. Now, that's right. If I divide each piece by negative 1, what's 3 divided by negative 1? Negative 3. 2 divided by negative 1, negative 2. So it'll be negative 3 minus 2 squared root of 3. Your answer. Your whole mission on these two were to get the square roots out of the bottom. Mission accomplished on A, multiply the top and bottom by the square root. Mission accomplished on B by multiplying by the conjugate when it's a binomial.